Cremation of bodies by the Sonderkommando, summer 1944. Forced to burn the corpses of their fellow Jews, Sonderkommando prisoners at Auschwitz carried out this grim task under Nazi orders, a horrific testament to the industrial scale of genocide. U.S. generals inspect a cremation pyre at the camp. As Allied generals surveyed the pyres of charred remains at Ohrdruf, they witnessed the inhumanity of the Holocaust firsthand. Eisenhower insisted it be documented, fearing future denial. Child survivors of Auschwitz, 1945. Emaciated and wide-eyed, these children survived the horrors of Auschwitz. Behind their innocent faces lies unimaginable suffering, a haunting reminder of war's darkest depths. Ohrdruf, gallows, Eisenhower. At Ohrdruf, Eisenhower stood before the gallows where Nazi executions were carried out. The raw evidence of brutality marked a defining moment in revealing the atrocities to the world. Buchenwald, slave laborers' liberation. Emaciated survivors of Buchenwald stare blankly through barbed wire, their bodies broken by forced labor. Liberation came too late for many, but their suffering was finally acknowledged. Burial detail at Camp O'Donnell after the Bataan Death March, May 1942. After surviving the brutal Bataan Death March, American and Filipino POWs buried the dead in shallow graves. Starvation, disease, and cruelty defined their daily struggle for life. Sergeant Siflit's execution at Itape, 1943. Captured and condemned, Sergeant Leonard Siflit was executed by beheading. This rare photo, taken moments before death, shocked the world with its raw depiction of wartime brutality. Japanese soldiers commit suicide on Tarawa, 1943. Refusing to surrender, these Japanese Marines took their own lives in Tarawa's rubble. Their deaths reflect the fierce code of honor and despair that drove Japan's doomed defense. USS New York, bombarding Iwo Jima, 1945. Thunder roared from the USS New York as it shelled Iwo Jima's defenses. The volcanic island became a blood-soaked battlefield where each inch cost hundreds of lives. Japanese suicide bunker, Saipan. This shattered bunker on Saipan bore silent witness to the desperation of cornered Japanese soldiers who chose death over surrender, revealing the human cost of unwavering nationalism. Aerial bombing aftermath. Hiroshima street scene after the atomic bomb, August 6, 1945. Hiroshima's scorched streets, lined with ruins and shadowy figures, captured the horror of nuclear war. The bomb killed over 140,000, leaving a lasting legacy of pain and radiation. Destroyed Urakami Cathedral, spring 1946. Once a symbol of faith, Urakami Cathedral stood in ruins after Nagasaki's atomic blast. The crumbled walls became a haunting monument to civilian loss and war's indiscriminate wrath.
Tokyo burns under B-29 firebomb assault, May 26, 1945. Infernos engulfed Tokyo as American firebombs reduced neighborhoods to ash. Tens of thousands perished overnight in one of history's deadliest air raids.
St. Paul's Cathedral during the Blitz, 1940. Shrouded in smoke, St. Paul's stood defiant as London burned around it. The image became a beacon of hope, resilience, and unity amid the chaos of Nazi air raids. German officer executes Jewish women, Misach Ghetto, 1942. This horrifying photo captures the moment before death. A Nazi officer aims his rifle at a Jewish woman and child, symbolizing the cold-blooded murder that defined the Holocaust. Polish inmates hanged in Warsaw, February 1944. In broad daylight, Germans publicly hanged Polish prisoners in Warsaw to instill terror. The bodies swayed as silent protests against Nazi cruelty and oppression. Mass execution of Polish citizens, December 1939. In Bochnia, 56 innocent Poles were gunned down as part of Nazi reprisals. Their blood marked the earth, one of countless atrocities in Hitler's brutal campaign against Poland. Nuremberg trials defendants, 1945-46. In the dock sat the architects of terror, Goering, Hess, Ribbentrop. The world watched justice unfold as the Nazi elite faced the reckoning they could not escape. Prisoner identity photo of a Polish girl, Auschwitz. Eyes wide with fear, this young girl was catalogued like property by the SS. One of 230,000 children imprisoned, she represents a generation whose innocence was stolen. Mother and daughter injured by A-bomb, Hiroshima 1945. Lying silently in a school-turned-hospital, this mother and daughter were scorched by nuclear fire. Their charred skin tells the story of unimaginable suffering and survival. Dutch famine, starving child, 1944. Hollow-eyed and weak, this child embodies the agony of the Dutch hunger winter. As food supplies ran dry, civilians starved in one of Europe's forgotten wartime tragedies. London children made homeless by the Blitz, 1939. In the smoky aftermath of air raids, children huddled in rubble, displaced and dazed. The Blitz turned childhood into chaos, but their spirit endured. Finnish war children in Turku, 1939. Bundled against the cold, these Finnish children were sent away for safety. Separated from their parents, they faced an uncertain future in a world upended by war. Bombed wreckage of USS Shaw at Pearl Harbor, 1941. The USS Shaw exploded in a fiery burst during the attack on Pearl Harbor. Its shattered remains symbolized America's sudden and violent entry into World War II. USS Arizona, burning after the Pearl Harbor attack. Smoke and flame consumed the USS Arizona as it sank beneath the harbor, entombing over 1,000 sailors. The image marked a day of infamy that changed the world. U.S. Marines pass a dead Japanese soldier, Okinawa, 1945. The cost of victory is written in this lifeless body, passed by Marines in the ruins of Okinawa. The island was one of the war's bloodiest and most bitter battles.
German forces surrendering in St. Lambert's Erdős, 1944. Disarmed and defeated, German soldiers surrendered en masse in France. It marked a turning point in the Allied liberation of Europe. Tuskegee Airmen. Breaking barriers and battling racism, the Tuskegee Airmen soared as heroes. Their courage in the skies paved the way for civil rights progress at home. Soviet sniper Lyudmila Pavlichenko, one of history's deadliest snipers, Pavlichenko, fought fiercely on the Eastern Front. Her 309 confirmed kills made her a Soviet legend and a symbol of female resilience. Code talkers. Using an unbreakable code from their native language, Navajo Marines outwitted Japanese forces. Their words became weapons, saving countless lives in the Pacific. Navy nurse Jane Kendig, Iwo Jima, March 1945. Among the first women on the battlefield, Ensign Kendig risked her life to aid the wounded. Her compassion amid chaos represents the quiet heroism of wartime medics. Virginia Hall with Jen Donovan. Despite a wooden leg, Virginia Hall became one of the most feared Allied spies. Her work behind enemy lines earned her a place in history and the Gestapo's most wanted list. Generals inspect the Ohrdruf camp. Generals Eisenhower, Patton, and Bradley toured the horrors of Ohrdruf. Shocked and outraged, they made sure the world would not forget what the Nazis had done. Mass grave in Ohrdruf, examined by U.S. Army officers, surrounded by death. American generals and journalists stood at a mass grave. The overwhelming stench and silence testified to the Nazi regime's monstrous crimes. Hitler's final public appearance, March 1945, haggard and defeated Adolf Hitler stepped into public view for the last time. Surrounded by Hitler Youth, he stood as his empire crumbled. Around him, mere weeks from suicide.